This video is sponsored by Tape It, the recording app made for musicians by musicians. Released in March 2024 as the lead single of her 6th studio album, Empathogen, Willow's Symptom of Life is one of the most intriguing pop songs I have ever heard. And perhaps calling it pop isn't doing it justice, because this song blends together so many different styles and genres. But whatever we're calling it, this song is a treasure trove of contemporary songwriting techniques. So in this video, I'm going to take you through an analysis of this song, pull it apart, and share with you 5 valuable concepts that every songwriter needs to know. One of the most striking features of this song are the 2 time signatures that we bounce between as we move through the song form. So in the verses, we have this 7/8 time signature. And so going back to that intro, the way we would count through that 7/8 time feel is like this. And 7/8 is what we think of as an unstable time signature, as are any of the odd number time signatures like 9/8, 5/4. These are all unstable. So the verses and the pre-chorus are structured in 7/8. Then we get the chorus, which is in 4/4, the most stable time signature we know, because it's the most common time signature that we hear. So structurally, this song is shifting from an unstable 7/8 in the verses and the pre-choruses to a very stable 4/4 time feel in the chorus. And the effect we feel when hearing these 2 different time signatures is twofold. Firstly, it creates a momentum shift. It changes the way we bounce to the music as we're listening to it. It changes our bodily reaction to the music. And the second thing that happens is we get these mood shifts throughout the song. When we're in the 7/8 sections, we interpret all the other information as being a little unstable, a little uncertain, pushing and peeling myself out of my disguise. Looking at you, now I'm wondering, who am I? If I could try to take you back, I couldn't define. Feeling absence of time, knowing all is decided. There's nothing left here to find. The story's all in my mind. When we hear those lyrics delivered with the 7/8 time feel, it creates this sense of ambiguity and uncertainty. It's not grounded, it's a little unstable. But when the chorus kicks in, we really feel that mood shift and that momentum shift. Suddenly the groove feels strong and stable and confident and drives everything forward. And this is a great technique if you're trying to really emphasize the central message of the song. Using these very stable, grounded elements in the chorus helps to deliver that chorus in a very confident manner, in contrast to what we're hearing in the verses. These chords that we hear at the very beginning really set the tone for the whole piece, and there is something beautiful and a little unusual about this set of chords. And there are some subtle variations on these chords depending on which resources you're using and which sheet music you might be looking at. But what is consistent across all the charts I've looked at are the type of chords being used, and that's really what I want to talk about now. So in this particular chart, we see an A minor 7, F major 9, G9, D minor 9, and then an A major. And you'll notice that there are these 9 extensions featuring heavily. And this is relevant because what we're not seeing are triads. We're seeing these 7s and these 9s being added to the chords. And this changes the sound and the feeling of the chords. So triads are really great for certain situations because they're uncomplicated, they're uncluttered, they're very direct in their sound. When we start adding 7s, 9s, 11s, 13s, the extensions, the sound gets a little more complex. It gets a little more nuanced. There's more harmonic information inside the chord, and this often makes the chord sound a little jazzier, for lack of a better word. So let me just demonstrate the difference between the sounds of these chords. And let's imagine that we're playing this song with triads. We would get an A minor, an F major, a G major, a D minor, an A major. Those were all triads. Instead, what we're hearing in this song are chords that sound more like this. A minor 7, F major 9, G9, D minor 9, and then A. So when you're writing a song, knowing that the triads create a different mood and a different feeling to the chords with extensions is really important. It's valuable information. But what about that A major? where does that belong? Where's that coming from? Well, this song is using what's called a parallel modulation, and that means that it is drawing on the sounds of both A minor and A major. So in the key of A minor, we get the chords A minor, B diminished, C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. If we're creating 4-note voicings of those chords to get closer to what chords are actually being used in this song, we have A minor 7, B half diminished, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, and G7. So the verse begins in the key of A minor, and we hear that A minor grounding us in the sound of that key. Then we get another chord in that key. Then we get another chord in that key. Another chord in that key. But then the parallel modulation to A major. And ending on that A major changes the mood just for a moment. It brings this warmth and this lightness to the chord progression because everything else has been in A minor. Getting that little A major shift at the end breathes a little bit of a light and optimism into the sound. But more importantly, we're being presented with these two different keys, these two different tonal centers. And that again makes it not so simple, not so clear cut. And if you're interested in learning more about parallel modulation, I've actually made a video that is entirely focused on that method. And in that video, I talk extensively about how to use this technique to write some really beautiful and interesting chord progressions. So check that out if you're interested. So we have the verses presenting both the sounds of A minor and A major. Then we get to the pre-chorus and we hear these two chords. F major 7 to B flat major 7, back and forth. B flat major 7 is not in the key of either A minor or A major. And so for this moment, we are really switching key to F major because in the key of F major, B flat major is the 4 chord. So this is a lovely little moment where the F major has appeared in the key of A minor. It's appeared in the verses in the context of A minor. Now we're hearing it really become the tonal center just for the pre-chorus. And then the chorus lands. And this is a beautiful moment where we hear a lot of the elements stripped away, including the piano chords. And what we're left with is really just the bass and the drums and the vocals. So in this section, the harmonic information is really simplified down even further from a triad. It's just the 1 and the 5 of the chord. So that would be represented as an F5, a D5, an A minor, back to an F5. These are simple, uncluttered versions of the chords. And it makes perfect sense that they're simple and uncluttered because the chorus is there trying to create contrast from the verses. It's there to drive the message of the song forward. And these beautiful, simple little voicings help to do that. Time to have a quick look at Tape It, a pro audio recording app perfect for songwriters and musicians who are looking for a better way to capture and organize their original ideas. Tape It allows you to record in stereo, set markers on your audio files, and importantly has been designed in such a way that you can easily organize and group your recorded ideas, share them privately with other people, and even add photos and additional text. You can download it for free from the App Store, and for a 20% discount on Tape It Pro, you'll find a link in the show notes. There are 4 songwriters credited on this song: Willow, Chris Griardi, Brad Oberhofer, and Asher Bank. Asher Bank played drums on the track, Brad Oberhofer was on the piano, and hearing Brad Oberhofer actually interviewed, he talks about the fact that the track really started with the drums and he came in afterwards responding to the drum sound that Asher Bank had put down. Chris Griardi played guitar and bass on the track as well as producing the track, and Willow of course was responsible for the lyrics, the vocals, and also was a producer on the track. So it was a team effort, like you find in a lot of contemporary songwriting. And through this team effort, we get this beautiful series of melodies. So let's start with the verse melody. And I'm going to jump over to hook theory so you can see it graphically in a slightly different way.
Pushing and peeling myself out of my disguise. Looking at you now, I'm wondering who am I?
So firstly, it starts off of the 1. It's not coming in on the downbeat, it's coming in on the 2. And this is an important note when we come to the chorus melody. Secondly, you can see and hear the incredible movement up and down because melody really has 2 key elements to it. It has the rhythmic element, left to right, and it has the pitch element, the up and down motion of the melody. But the nature of this rise and fall is interesting. It's not just going up and down like a scale. It's using several leaps to break up the pattern. And those wider intervals are often the part of the melody that really grabs our attention and sticks in our memory. Another fascinating thing about this melody is it avoids the home note, the A, almost exclusively. It is barely used except for this one little moment. And avoiding the home note is significant because the home note is the most stable note option. So when you go to it, everything feels resolved. When you avoid it, it creates the opposite effect. It creates this unresolved, floaty kind of feeling. And the avoidance of the home note, in combination with the rhythm and the chords, really helps create this very intriguing and slightly mysterious verse section. And then in contrast, we get the chorus melody.
My eyes on all the things, more beauty is a symptom of life. Gotta decide if I'm gonna see it right. Feast our eyes on all the things when suffering is craving the light. Gotta decide how we're gonna heal it right.
And this is that moment when we feel in our body that change to a new time feel. And at the heart of this change is the drastic way in which the melody changes, this new construction that features a rapid series of 16th notes and a relentless delivery of this single note in particular. And when you hear this melody, it's really like a percussion instrument. It's like Willow is thinking as a drummer as she's delivering the lines, locking in with the groove, driving the whole thing forward. So if you're looking to create contrast between your sections, this is one of the most effective ways to do it, by taking a different approach to how you write the melodies in each section, by creating different shapes, different forms, making them move in different directions. All of these are different factors and things to experiment with when constructing your melodies. When we're talking about song form, we're really talking about the arrangement of sections and how those sections are put together to create the song. This song is not a simple pop form. It has some quirks to it. It has some deceptive little moments that keep us guessing. And one of the best ways to reveal these moments is to label each section and look at the number of bars in each section. So if we're laying out this song, we have an intro, we have verse 1, we have the pre-chorus, we then have verse 2, we have another pre-chorus, and then we get the chorus. We then have an instrumental interlude, verse 3, pre-chorus, a bridge section, and then finally the chorus. Now, one of the great ways to learn songwriting and learn about song form is to listen to a song and map out the sections of the song. And I really encourage all songwriters to do this when they're listening to music because it gets you inside the song. It shows you how the song is constructed and shows you the role that each of these sections is playing, the transference of energy between the sections. And importantly, it can give you some really beautiful song templates to try in your own songwriting. So let's just break down this form. And specifically, we're going to look at the numbers of bars in each section because that's going to reveal something interesting about this song. So we have the intro setting up this 7/8 time feel. It's 4 bars long. Then we get verse 1 come in. Verse 1 is 6 bars long. Then we get the pre-chorus, which is 4 bars long. And the pre-chorus's job is really to build up anticipation before going to the chorus, which you would expect to hear a lot of the time. But in this song, it immediately goes back to another verse. And we get another 6 bars before going into another pre-chorus. But this pre-chorus is different from the first pre-chorus. This pre-chorus is 5 bars long, and that final bar that's been added to it switches to 8 beats, not 7. This bar is really setting us up for the time signature change in the chorus. Not only that, the 5 bar section is unstable, and an unstable section feels unresolved. And so it builds anticipation for what's coming next. It helps transfer energy into the next section. And that energy is then released with the landing of the chorus. So when you're writing a song and looking at the numbers of bars in each section, if all of them are stable, if all of them are even, you run the risk of it all feeling too stable, too predictable. You can also run the risk of them being a little disconnected from each other. We want the sections to transfer energy into each other. And one of the best ways to do it is to have an odd number of bars in one section that builds anticipation for the next section. So then we get the chorus landing at 1 minute and 6 seconds, which by contemporary standards is pretty late in the form. If you listen to a lot of pop music, you'll often hear the chorus coming in around the 30 to 40 second mark because that's what's advised by a lot of producers and a lot of people in the industry. They don't want the listener to have to wait too long before they hear the main hook of the song. But this song is not a typical pop song. The twists and turns that we're taken through on the way to that chorus keeps us engaged, keeps us captivated. And so it allows the chorus to appear later in the form. So it comes in at 1:06 and plays over 12 bars. Then we get a 2-bar interlude before going into verse 3. Verse 3 is interesting because verse 3 is different from verse 1 and 2. Structurally, it's different. Firstly, it's 8 bars long. So it's 2 bars longer than verse 1 and 2. And secondly, the melodic structure is not a replica of verse 1 and 2. We're hearing different melodic phrasing. It almost feels like a bridge section, but it is using the same chords and similar melodic fragments to the first 2 verses. So we hear it as a verse with variation. Then we get the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus builds that anticipation. We're expecting it to go to the chorus as we heard previously, but instead it goes to this new section, which is harmonically different, emotionally different. It only lasts 4 bars long, but it feels like a bridge because it's a one-off section. And it serves to delay the entry of this final chorus and build up even more anticipation. And the chorus then over 12 bars takes us to the end of the form. But you can see that the chorus only appears twice. It appears in the middle of the song and at the very end of the song. And in between are all of these other moving parts that really do hold our attention and provide lots of variation as we're moving through the form. Hopefully you're starting to hear and appreciate the unique blend of elements that this song contains. And I have found this song fascinating from the moment I heard it, but so have millions of other people. At the time of recording this video, the song has been out for less than a year and a half, 23 million streams on Spotify. It is the most popular song on the album Empathogen. And hearing Willow talk about the origins of this song, you get a sense that this is a personal subject matter for her. She's tackling some serious themes about nature and how we coexist with nature. And there are environmental concerns, there are spiritual elements. All of these themes are woven throughout the lyrics. And again, these themes feel very personal to the songwriter. They sound like themes that the songwriter needed to explore, rather than sitting down and thinking, what do people want to hear? The song has a very beautiful, whimsical nature, but holds a lot of mystery. There's this beautiful light coming in through the piano, but also this syncopated rhythm of the bass bringing in that mysterious element, a juxtaposition of light and dark. And this juxtaposition of light and dark really takes us on what feels like a whirlwind journey. A journey that lasts a total of 3 minutes and 9 seconds, yet feels so much longer in the best possible way. Because listening to this song is immersive. It's packed with little twists and turns all the way through it. And more than just enjoying this song as a listener, it really inspires me as a songwriter to keep trying different things, to keep experimenting with new methods and techniques. It also encourages me greatly to hear a song that is breaking some of the rules, that isn't pandering to the expectations of listeners, that isn't just using tried and tested methods, things we've heard a million times before. Because the first time you hear it, there are some challenging moments. Trying to latch onto the time signature changes, trying to count through the bars, it's not easy. You have to do a little bit of work to keep up with this song, and that's the joy of this song. That's the joy of the experience when you first hear it, and then when you hear it for the 5th time. It still challenges you and still draws you in with its complexity and with its blend of elements. And the fact that this song has done so well is also great news for us songwriters, because it shows that you can experiment with challenging the listener, pushing the boundaries a little, being bold and creative with your choices, and still have millions of people love the song. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this song and how you felt when you first heard it. Was it challenging? Did it pull you in? Did it push you away? What were the moments that really stood out for you? And what were the parts of this song that you thought, I want to try that in my own songwriting? Happy songwriting. Bye.